Alright, yo, what's up? It's Will Dennison back here with a new video. Today we're going to be doing a podcast type video. It's kind of like a, Kenny for real video where it's like, we're not NBA, but we're talking about college basketball, but that's kind of my inspiration for this type of video. It may run long, may not, kind of like a podcast. We might try to get guests on. That's the goal. Maybe I'll join a podcast, something like that. But right now it's gonna be just me and a mic and a camera and maybe you guys in this video. So today we're gonna be talking about the AP poll rankings that just dropped again today, Monday, December 5th, and it's talking about some KenPom rankings and really just how the college basketball season has been shaking up so far because this year, it's been very interesting. So yeah, let's get into it. So as the AP polls dropped today, there's the same number one as it's been last week, and it's Houston Cougars. You can't really drop them for the way they've been playing. They haven't looked as dominant, and they haven't played what a marquee matchup this year. They did play Oregon, where they won by 10 at Oregon, so that's a good win. Oregon has been a little disappointing this year. But the thing about Houston is the last two games they've struggled. I guess besides the Norfolk State game where they won by 50, but the Kent State game they won by 5, and they just beat St. Mary's by 5 as well. Their offense just hasn't looked as elite as you want to, with Marcus Sasser also getting a little shoulder injury last game yesterday. Was it yesterday or Saturday against St. Mary's. I'm sorry. But guess what? They rank number one in KenPom. They are the number 2 team in defense this year. Opponents only average 48 points per game. This team is just looking dominant. We'll see when they go up against Alabama on Saturday. That's a huge game. We'll see how well they'll hang against a top 10 Alabama team, led by Brandon Miller, the freshman. And then they got Virginia in the following Saturday at Virginia. That's going to be one of the greatest games of the year. Maybe it could be top 2 teams by then. Could be a top 5 matchup, top 3 matchup, which is right now what we're looking at is as Virginia ranks number 3. Houston's looking really good. Assuming the number 2 team in the country, which is Texas, my number 1 team in the country. KenPom's number 2 team in the country. Coaches poll number 2 team in the country. This team is just really well, really good. Led by Tyrese Hunter, Marcus Carr, Christian Bishop. It's year 2 under Chris Beard, and that team is just looking like as good and better on paper. I mean, Jameer Rice, Dylan Dussault, all these transfers, star freshmen. This team has been put together really well, and they have marquee wins. Against Creighton at home, against Gonzaga at home. They haven't gone and played a road game yet this year, and they won't play a road game until at Oklahoma on the 31st. But they have a neutral game against Illinois coming up on Tuesday, which is a huge game for Texas. I love what Texas is doing right now this season. They look like maybe an early favorite for the national championship. We got Virginia. I'm a Virginia fan, all right, so this could be a little biased, but I think we might be the best team in the country. The best player on this Virginia team, in my opinion, is Reese Beekman. He proves why he is on and off the court. Defense and offense. He's a guy that is very versatile and can shoot the ball, can be a point guard when Kie's not in, and that's key. Kie Clark, the 5th-year senior. A guy that's been on this team forever, the one remaining player from the national championship team. He's just the leader on this team. He's the veteran presence. He does everything right. You got Jane Gardner in the second year. Almond Franklin, who's stepped up in the second year. And Tony Bennett's led this team to an end, a top team in the country. You got a game against James Madison, and then they're back and playing Houston next Saturday. They probably have finals coming up next week, so they don't play after this tomorrow against James Madison. They don't play until next Saturday against Houston, and then on to ACC play at Miami. So it's a big couple weeks for Virginia. And that Houston game is what is circled on the calendar. That game will prove whether Virginia is legit or not, which I think they are. Even if they lose the game, my opinions won't change too much about them. Number 4 team in the country is Purdue Boilermakers. Zach Edey. That's all I have to say. This team is number 6 in Ken Palm. It's the best offensive team in the country and led by the best player in the country in Zach Edey, the 7'4" monster. He is unguardable right now, and teams got to figure out a way to guard him. They showed against that Minnesota game, showed why he is the best player in the country. 30 points, 17 rebounds or something. A monstrous performance from Zach Edey. Purdue's freshman guards have stepped up. Matt Painter has led this team to just, a year where people thought they're a fringe top 25 team. Only one person I knew had him top 25, and that was Gary Parrish. Just a great coaching performance, and this team has stepped up big. Going into Big Ten play, we'll see how they can stand, because that conference is looking. Big Ten's looking like the best conference in basketball right now. Which you say every year they don't. I know they don't have the tournament success, but what I'm loving from Purdue is just Zach Edey and the freshman guards they have. They lost a lot of their top scorers, which is when you go into a year, you're not sure. We knew Zach Edey was really good, but he's proven us that he's better than what we thought. So yeah, Purdue looking really good this year. And then the rest of these top 10 go. I just kind of want to go over the top 4. You got UConn, undefeated, looking really good. Going in the favorites in the Big East. They got a game at Florida, and then a bye game, and then again the Big East play. That Florida game at Florida. That's not an easy win, but I'm confident that Bobby Hurley's team will get into, or Dan Hurley. I think it's Dan Hurley, actually. I'm sorry. Bobby Hurley's Arizona State. Kansas. They lost a game in the Maui Championship against who did they lose to? Who won Maui? Am I tripping? Who won Maui? They lost. They lost Battle for Atlantis. I'm sorry. Maui went to Arizona. They lost to Tennessee. They bounced back against Seton Hall, against Mr. Holloway's team. But yeah, Kansas still. Jalen Wilson's taking that step they want to, and then Grady Dix looked really good as a freshman. Devin Harris has looked good. This team is just not as talented as last year's team, but they're still on top of the Big 12. Big 12 is very competitive this year with Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU. But yeah, they're definitely up there. Texas, of course, but they're up there for the Big 12. Tennessee is below them, which is very interesting in the AP poll. My mind, Tennessee's third in KenPom, while Kansas is 12th. Tennessee beat Kansas, but below them. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough call. But yeah, Tennessee's looking really good, and they got a huge game against Illinois. Wait, no, they don't. Oh my god, I always mix up Tennessee and Texas. They don't play Illinois, but they play at Maryland. That's a huge game. At Maryland, Maryland's been looking good. We'll get to them. Alabama looking really good. They play Houston. Arkansas trying to bounce back. Nick Smith finally made his debut. Arizona took an L to Utah. They're still there. Auburn's an interesting team. Ranked coming in 11th in the AP poll, 14th in KenPom. They just haven't played a really marquee matchup yet. Their best win is home against St. Louis at 4 and at Northwestern by 1 when they scored 43 points. So that's a game you really shouldn't have won. Baylor, they got a big win on Peacock against the Zags. But the thing about Baylor is they just have been a little underwhelming. I mean, of course, you got the guards, Adam Flagler, LJ Cryer, Keontae George. And then but the big man situation just had to solve out. Flo Thamba is just Jonathan Tamatachua, they need him back. I don't know when he is going to come back this year because he did suffer that knee injury last year. But yeah, I mean Baylor's looking good. Again, the Big 12 is a tough conference, and I know they'll be in the tournament again. They'll be a high seed. Scott Drew always sees that team to be successful, but this year, they've been up and down. The Maryland Terrapins, one of my favorite teams to watch this year. This team has just been electrifying with wins against that big win at home against Illinois, at neutral against Miami, neutral against St. Louis. Those are just some wins that are huge for a program. And down to Scott, this dude is a monster. And then you have Jacob Young, or Jameer Young, I'm sorry. Jameer Young, Hart. This team really just shoots the ball. They're electrifying. Those yellow uniforms they wore on Friday night against Illinois. The stadium was packed out in Maryland, in College Park. These fans want Maryland basketball back. basketball is better when Indiana is back, which they are. Um, who's coming actually in 14th? Indiana has been a little up and down this year. I think Trace Jackson Davis is a beast, but they just struggled at Rutgers, and that's what Rutgers do. They beat good teams at home. They've done it now, 10 straight games against I don't know, top 25, top 10 opponents. I think it was top 25 opponents at home. They've won. They like to upset the plans, and then they go lose to Northwestern or something like that. But yes, Rutgers is a good team. They're going to be a tournament team. In the end, just that's a tough game after being Carolina at home. Um, and then Duke. Duke is they've been up and down this year. They finally got a big win last week against Ohio State. They beat Boston College. And then tomorrow they play Iowa on a neutral in NYC for the Jersey Classic. Um, that's a big game for Duke. They got to prove that they can they're consistent because Kyle Filipowski has looked like that freshman that you wanted him to look like. But Derek Lively's been a little underwhelming. He's been better the last 2 games. They're finally getting more involved in the offense. I have a friend that's a Duke fan that watches our games, and he's been just saying that because I haven't got to all the games. I mean, he's been just saying that Lively's been getting more involved in the offense. Derek's getting more involved, and Jeremy Rich is starting to look like that elite point guard that they want him to. And that's key because he's going to try to glue everyone together. Because since he is the veteran on that team, because you need your 5 stars to do good, but they're going to be inconsistent. They're just getting into college play, and you need that veteran guy to be there to get them through the struggles. Kentucky got a big one in London, which okay, I mean they got rescheduled. Hunter Dickinson said they were ducking him. Michigan, Hunter Dickinson. I appreciate your name. I appreciate your name. Trust me. Dickinson's got to represent. Like come on. But yeah, Kentucky just is improving. Sheba is trying to get back to his season form, and then I think the key of this team is Cason Wallace, the freshman. Dude has looked like a stud this year. Kentucky is 5th in KenPom with 2 losses. Those coming to Gonzaga and to Michigan State. Those aren't bad losses. They're both on neutrals or at Gonzaga. So yeah, those are tough losses. But Kentucky's definitely improving. This team is not young, but definitely still trying to get there. They play a neutral against USC, and then they get in the conference play. So that's just the one big matchup of our conference. And then the Zags, they've been struggling this year. This is the worst Gonzaga start since 2010-2011 season for Gonzaga. This team just doesn't have that guy. Of course, Timmy has played great, but the last few years they've had Jalen Suggs and then they've had Chet Holmgren. They lost Andrew Nemhard. The guard play just hasn't been what Gonzaga's used to with Nigel Williams-Goss, players like that. It's just not as good as they used to. I mean, Julian Strother has taken that step, but they've had a really hard schedule. Like you gotta applaud Gonzaga because they have an easy conference schedule, so they gotta play their tough games, their resume building wins out of conference, and it's done that. And they've played tough teams. They've beaten the Kentucky team. They did lose in the PK to Purdue, and Purdue is a really good team. So Gonzaga's gonna be okay. That's what I'm trying to say. Gonzaga's gonna be okay. Creighton's lost now 3 in a row in Maui Championship at Texas, understandable. But then they lose at home against Nebraska to the Cornhuskers. Fred Hoiberg's team played a great game. They shut down Creighton. Creighton shot terribly. Ryan Kalkbrenner's looked really good. Baylor Scheinman's looked good. But the really key to the team, I think, is Ryan Nemhard, sophomore guard, Andrew's brother. Creighton's looked a little inconsistent. They looked really well and really good in Maui. They beat Arkansas, and that was a great game. They beat Texas Tech. But no, I think Creighton right now just is in a little skid. I don't think they're the best team in the Big East like everyone thought they were. I mean, I think it's UConn right now. I think that's easy to say. And we'll see what Villanova can be. Xavier's look as good as Creighton this year. Xavier's 31st in KenPom. Creighton is 22nd. So there's not a big difference there between those two teams in KenPom, and I don't think if they play each other, if it was at Xavier would win that game. for sure.
Yeah, I got a little parched. Sorry. Shout out to Prime. You know, I could give my honest reviews on Prime right now, and it would be it's good. It's just it doesn't even taste like a sports drink, which is crazy. It tastes almost too sweet to be like. I feel like it makes the taste feel like it would be heavy and like it hurts my stomach, which it doesn't. So it tastes like that. It's just a little too sweet for me for a sports drink, but it doesn't hurt your stomach. It's not bad tasting. It's just a little strong for me, but it's good. It's a good drink. I'm not gonna lie. I just don't think it's as good as Gatorade. Like that. No, it's not better than Gatorade. Okay. Anyways, so we just talked about Crane. Let's move on to probably one of the biggest topics, and it's everyone's talking about in the college basketball scene. It's North Carolina. A guy that lives in North Carolina, the guy who lives in the Triangle area, hears about Carolina all the time. And here are my takeaways. Did we fall into the trap that North Carolina was the number one team in the nation? Yes. We kind of did with UCLA last year. We didn't think they were going to be number one, but we kind of did. But this North Carolina team has just been underwhelming. Of course, they lost on Sunday. Sorry. Sorry. God, I'm sorry. To Virginia Tech without Marno Baycott. If he won that game, maybe Justin Mutz doesn't go off. Maybe they win that game. But they've lost 4 in a row now. The number one team is not in the top 25. They're actually still in the top 25 in KenPom at 24. So good for them there. But they're 5-4. They've lost 4 in a row. I mean, they've all been tough teams to play at Indiana, at at freaking Virginia Tech, neutral against Alabama, neutral against Iowa State. But those are teams you should beat if you are an elite team. There should not be excuses when you're an elite team. And Caleb Love is just not taking that step. He's shooting 26% from three. RJ Davis shooting 26% from three. Your guards are what lead this North Carolina team, and they're not playing like what you want them to do at the beginning of the year. And I think that's what's killing them. That's what's really just hurting this Carolina team is just their Caleb Love's shot selection. RJ Barrett, I mean not RJ Davis can't make his shots. RJ Barrett can't for the Knicks either. I know. Pete Nance, Pete Nance is not the problem, guys. You can say Brandon Mack leaving hurts, yeah, but Pete Nance has been honestly good. 18 points against Virginia Tech. He's been consistent. Leaky Black put up 2 points in that Virginia Tech game. Come on, Leaky. I know you're a good defender. 2. Dontrez Styles got hurt. Dunn got hurt, not Styles. Dunn got hurt. Mario Dunn. I'm pretty sure that's his name. I'm not looking at stats, but I know Dunn got hurt. But yeah, I mean, Carolina just has been underwhelming. I'm a little concerned about them because they still have a tough schedule. They have Virginia twice, Duke twice, Michigan. Carolina just need to get back on the right track. If I'm Carolina, just get back on the right track. Is what they need to do. And then let's talk about the bottom of the barrel, the worst it can get. There's 2 teams that come to my mind when you think about the worst teams in college basketball, and it's the Louisville Cardinals and Cal Golden Bears. The thing about these teams is they're winless. They suck. Let's be real. They're bad. Kenny Payne's first year in Louisville is going terrible. Also, shout out to Florida State. They're really bad. 1-9. Jesus. Leonard Hamilton, get your team together. The only reason they're not being talked about more is because Louisville sucks. Again, they lost to Bellarmine. They've lost to Wright State. They lost to App State. They've lost. And then their last game has been tough. I mean, Arkansas, Texas Tech, Cincinnati. It's not that good. Maryland. But all those games they've lost have been blowouts besides the first 3. And they play at Florida State. Again, both those teams are bad. They're probably losing that game. And then they play 3 straight games they should win. Home against Western Kentucky, home against Florida A&M, and home against Lipscomb. If Florida State, right now, if you go into the day and put in Florida State goes 0-3, fire him on that spot. I don't care. Fire him on the spot because that is just embarrassing. I'm trying to find where Florida State is in KenPom right now. They're 150th in KenPom. In the net rankings, they're 131. Oh no, I'm thinking about Florida State. Okay, I typed in Florida State. I'm talking about Louisville. Louisville was 161. Whatever. They were third to last in KenPom, which In the net rankings that came out today. Louisville is 206th, and Cal is 227 in KenPom. Both teams are winless. They are both Cal and Louisville are unlucky, but you gotta win those games. You gotta win those games. Let's hopefully they turn it around because this has just not been pretty for those schools. I know the fan base is feeling right now, especially Louisville because it's such a big brand. Because Cal, you kind of expect to just be bad at basketball, but Louisville, I mean, everyone knows about Louisville basketball, and everyone wants them to be good. It's better for the sport when Louisville's good. They play at Kentucky. That spread better be like 20. And then, so let's go look at these next day, previews. Next 2 days because I'm gonna do another one of these on Wednesday pod. So yeah, I mean we got today. Today's really nothing. There's only one game probably of note, and it's Kent State against Gonzaga. Kent State good. They went to Houston, lost by 5. They only allowed Houston to score 49 points. Home against Gonzaga. Gonzaga should win. They're favored by 15 points, but in Spokane, they're going to win, but that's a game where you look out and it might be a close game at the end. Kent State may cover. I'll take Kent State to cover. This is betting advice, guys. You should just take my bets right now and put your house on them. Kent State, they could cover, but I think Gonzaga will win that game. And then only 2 ranked teams playing there with San Diego State. And then let's look at the December 6th, Tuesday. A lot of good games on Tuesday. All right, I'm trying to find. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Of course, we have the Jimmy V Classic, Illinois and Texas. Let's give my pick for this one. Texas 4-point favorites at home, not at home, at Madison Square Garden against Illinois. Coleman Hawkins looking really good for this Illinois team. So is Terrence Shannon. They played a lot of close games in their losses, and then Texas undefeated as of now. I think Texas wins this game. I really do. Tyrese Hunter, man, I love the way the Iowa State transfer plays. I mean, in the tournament, he proved that he was a really good player. He goes to Texas, and now could be an NBA lottery pick. I love the way he plays. Coleman Hawkins, same thing. I'm going to go Texas to win and cover, though. I think this Texas team is legit. I love the way Chris Beard coaches. He's just a great coach. He led Texas Tech to a national championship game, lost in overtime to Virginia. But this is gonna be a close game though. I think Texas pulls away late with some free throws to cover. Arkansas plays UNCG, really nothing there. And then we got a good one here, mid-major special, St. Louis Iona, Rick Pitino's team. There's no line on this game right now. I can't see it. But St. Louis going on the road to Iona. Iona's a good team to MAC. I'm going to have St. Louis win this game, though. Yurley Collins is averaging like 15 assists. That dude knows how to pass the ball. That's for sure. And then let's see. I'm trying to get. We got my Virginia going against James Madison. This is a split house. My dad went to James Madison. My uncle was for Virginia. I root for Virginia in basketball because James Madison's not that good. Which they are one of the better teams in the Sun Belt, though. Don't get me wrong. Southern Miss did lose, so they're not undefeated anymore. But James Madison could win the Sun Belt this year. Mark my words. If you see him on Selection Sunday, just know I called that win the Sun Belt on December 5th. But that should be a game, easy win for Virginia. James Madison did beat Virginia last year at home. This year it's at Virginia. Houston goes against North Florida, really nothing. We got a great Big Ten game here. It's a pick'em. It's Maryland at Wisconsin. This is a tough one. Wisconsin's look good. They beat Marquette at Marquette. They barely lost to Kansas. This Wisconsin team is gritty. Tyler Wall. When you watch them, it's kind of stereotypical because there's a lot of white guys on that Wisconsin team. There's a lot of white guys on that Wisconsin team. Just saying. But this Maryland team, man, there's something about them. Their next 3 games is where you're going to see if Maryland's legit. You got Tennessee, you got this Wisconsin, and you got Tennessee, and you got UCLA, I believe. So those are really 3 tough games. I'm going to have Maryland win and pick them, so bet Maryland on this one. I just love the way Donald Scott plays and their whole team, really. I love the energy Maryland's basketball gives you. It just reminds me of when they were in the ACC, when they had Melo Trimble, that they were always competing. Jalen Smith, Those Maryland teams have been making the tournament. I want that back. And Kevin Willard's done a great job in this first year. And then there's the 9:30 game is Duke, Iowa. Duke's 2-point favorites, which doesn't seem like a lot since Iowa's good. And they got the second coming of Keegan Murray and Chris Murray, his twin brother. I think that Duke has been underwhelming this year. This game's on ESPN. People will be watching. It's a Tuesday night. There's nothing on fucking Tuesday. I'm gonna go with Duke to cover and win. It's tough. I could see Duke laying a stinker here. I really could. I could see Duke laying a stinker. But Kyle Flakowski's going to show his NBA scouting. He could be a player. Derek Lively's going to come out and have a good game. This could be a sneaky Dariq Whitehead breakout game. Mark Mitchell's been all right, but just besides King Murray, I don't love this Iowa team. Just doesn't have that much talent. But besides Chris Murray, sorry, Keegan's balling for the Kings right now. Yeah, so I got Duke covering and win that game. So those are some good games Monday, Tuesday. We'll come back on Wednesday to have a little recap there, and then see what's happening. Talk about some results, anything interesting. If there's some upset, we'll talk about it. So this has been fun. This is the first episode. Clocking in around 30 minutes. That's the goal, around 30 minutes. So, yeah, thank you for watching this first episode. Hope you enjoy. We'll see where this leads. But, yeah, fun first episode. Go Virginia, and watch out for the Zags losing tonight. All right, shout out to Kenny, College Basketball Podcast for my inspiration. And,